Welcome back to the Avery Tribe Podcast.
Hello.
My name's Chris. This is Melanie.
Yep.
Melanizel. Malicious. She goes by many names.
Many.
That's all we have for you.
All right. Well, let's get into it. This episode, we're talking about run your life like a business. So we're talking about Chris Avery coaching, the business. So I'm going to ask Chris a few questions, and it will all be clear by the end. Buckle in.
Buckle in.
First
it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Let's start with, I think, I'm going to scratch that.
Let's start there.
I was going to ask you a question, but I'm going to take it back.
You are?
Well, what is Chris Avery coaching? Like, let's say someone goes, hey, I think I need a coach in life. I'm where I am. What is the coaching that is presented?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a real deep question. I'll give you the shallow I'll give you the 30,000 foot view opposed to the trees. When we look at it, the true understanding of the importance of life is looking at your lifestyle. And that's something I think we've captured over the last 2-3 years of really getting more dialed in, especially with the running and things like that, is you have to develop a lifestyle to be able to do a run like this. You have to develop a lifestyle to create the business you want, or the business runs you, or the run runs you. So that's the reason we chose Run Your Life, right? That's the whole motto of it, is run your own life. We listen to society tell us what to do, and we don't take a deep dive inside and understand what we really want at our soul level. And when we understand that, we can understand how we want to run our life. And I really believe this is one of the biggest mottos in life is run your life like a business. Most men, and since I'm speaking to men, that's who I coach, most men go to work and we give our best. We give our best to the 9 to 5, or to your business, the 9 to 9 if you're running your own business. We give our best to that, and then we come home and give everybody the rest. And I was just listening to a podcast with a friend that I know, and he works a ton. And then he says, like, he gets short with his kids, and they're like, great, you make a bunch of money and give it to us so we can go on trips and stuff, but like, you're short with us. And that's the exact opposite of how I wanted to live my life. I learned that from 2 other men as examples in my life that we'll get to and talk to about in a little bit later about their story and how that impacted me. But understanding your lifestyle, what you really want that to look like, and then how to develop that. And that's including your business, your relationships, your wife, your kids, and your tribe, your brotherhood. And then also understanding how running, it builds in this gift and this dynamic for our life, for us to understand ourselves, for us to understand business, for us to understand our soul and our spirit, and for us to really get clear on what is really important for our life. And I'm not saying I'm promoting anybody getting to the point of death, but I've now heard 2 different stories recently from 2 different people that were getting ready to die. And it's amazing how clear and how deep of understanding of what was really important to their life. And most of people, if you listen to people that are going to die, and there's people that have done plenty of research on people that are going to die and what they regret, we look and we start to, and if we really take a deep dive in that, we understand now, backtrack that. What do we want our lifestyle to look so we don't get to that point in our life and regret the whole journey? Because the journey is the beautiful part. That's the part we're missing. We just want to skip past to the successes, the wins, the outcomes. But how do we enjoy the journey? That was not even close to what Chris Avery Coaching is, but I loved it.
I think it encapsulates a lot of what you're about.
It does, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, it's not my program at all. I mean, there's parts of it that are my program. That wasn't detailed about my program, but that was a 30,000 foot view of, what I believe and what life is to me.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. Can you share why you chose coaching in the first place? What led you to go, I think I'm made for this. I'm going to be a coach.
It's a great question. Never once did I come out of my mouth and say I'm made for this. I just want to, still not coming out of my mouth. It's challenging because I'm very much about the person when we're looking at our own life to go, man, we label ourselves as things, right? We label ourselves like, go ahead.
I was about to say,
I'm sure I am. Go.
I don't know. On our first date, when he was, he picked me up and we're in the car driving over to this festival of lights we were going to see. He goes, or maybe it was our first conversation. I don't know. He goes, who are you? And I go, I'm Melanie. And he's like, okay, who are you?
Yeah.
But you definitely, it's a thought provoker.
Yeah. So I have two things just to go on our first date. I said, hey, what do you want to get out of the date?
And me going with, I've never heard that question once out of all the times I've been on dates or have dated.
Hey, gentlemen, if you're out there dating, take notes.
And no one's ever asked me, what do you want to get out of tonight? Or like, what's your intention for tonight? And I thought, have fun. And he goes, great. I want to have some connection. I want to have whatever else you said. I just remember I want to have some good connection, good conversation. And I didn't know that was something we need to talk about. I thought that's just something that happens. But it was good to put it out there. This is
that's the point, right? It's like how to get clear.
My eyes, went on alert for this is a guy.
Were they with hearts or were they with a tunnel vision? Like, how do I get out of here quickly?
Possibly both. Probably at different times.
That's a fair analysis. Anyways. So going back to your question, I always am wary of assigning a label. And it goes back to people, and I always, when I introduce myself, I say, who are you, a lot of times, because what most people do is we meet somebody and go like, what do you do? Like, unless,
what's your job?
Yeah. And unless it's significant to your life, most people are going to a 9-to-5 that's not significant, not purpose-driven, not caring really that they're doing. They're just there for the check, which is, okay, if that's what you're doing. Yeah. Man, like to me, I didn't want to label myself, but how do I choose coaching? Luckily, I had a lot of stuff emotionally, a lot of stuff physically, a lot of stuff mentally that I didn't understand how to deal with or comprehend. So I chose drugs and alcohol when I was younger, and that led me down a path that comes with no regrets, but comes with some darkness. And again, without the darkness, you can't see the light. Without the light, you can't see whatever, however you want to say that. So it was important to happen in my life. It's exactly what was meant to happen to me. But I got connected with some amazing people that connected me with another amazing people. That this one guy asked me, had enough courage to ask me a question of, hey, I see you're doing this stuff. It was all leadership, personal development, being around incredible people. And then, hey, do you want to come over and try this guy's material? And I'm like, absolutely not. I got a ton of material. This guy, the truth was I was doing drugs and alcohol, and I was afraid and scared and didn't know how to handle this. He followed up with me every month. That's my memory, for a year. And I still talk to him. We're still good friends. But he took me. I went to Michael's events, got on a call, went to Michael's events.
Who's
Michael Burnoff, Scottsdale, Arizona. Check him out if you ever are looking for that kind of help, especially larger events. He runs incredible events. So I got to be part of going to his event. That helped. Then I came back. The next time I came back, the first time I went, I was drunk. So that wasn't the best. Different story.
I love that you show up to this leadership event, let's make you better, and you show up drunk and late.
Oh yeah, I purposely, so I got drunk so I took off work that day. I got drunk I wasn't going to get into this story, but I got drunk all morning, and then finally got enough sober. That's also a really crappy statement, but got enough sober to get to the event. But I also wanted to make sure that I got to the event so late that I didn't have to go in a room because I knew they put you in a room with like people and you were talking and kind of networking and eating and stuff. And I didn't want any part of that crap. I was there to get help, not sit there and talk to people. Anyways, so I shoved that. Second time coming back, long story short, I was sober and I got to sit down and be part of leadership and understand helping because when you're leadership, you're in these smaller groups. So it's a room of 300, 400, 500 people, but you get in these groups of about 20, 30 people. And so leadership is part of that group. And when I was there, I was able to help some new people. And that impacted me so greatly inside the serving of it, the impact, the little, like you saying one comment and their shift of reality, and how it was a game changer for him, and that got me like hooked. And then I went back to his events and was able to be part of that, and then go up to the A-level team, which was even a higher level of leadership. And all that stuff really just drove home, man, this is like the best thing you can do in life. And like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I get a little teary-eyed talking about it, but like, this is the best thing you can do. And I knew from my perspective, if I wanted to be a coach, and no disrespect to any coach out there, I knew I wanted to be in the game. So I don't want to tell you about business and not be running my own business. I want to be improving my marriage, improving being a father, improving and running and doing something legendary out there. in order for me to turn the light back to you and say, this is nothing about me. This is all about your capability. And I want you to know that you can see somebody else. So hopefully it gives you hope that you can do the same thing on your own level. And I knew when I was going to be a coach, I would have to become and continue to become the best me. So that put a healthy pressure on me to keep growing, expanding, and do my best to be my best. And do I suck at that? She's my wife. She'll tell you I do. And not saying that I don't. I do.
There's times, because obviously human, but if I were to take a measure of when I first met Chris and, you start dating, start getting to know each other, you get married, live in close quarters, like, in the beginning, there are some things that arise, and you go, who is
Absolutely.
This guy? Like, who did I marry? This is scary. This is hard. I've never had this kind of argument before. I've never had this kind of feedback before. But if I were to take, he's a feedback king. But if I were to take a measurement of who that Chris was, and also me, I've adjusted and changed over the years, but who that Chris was to now, almost 7, really, I've known you 7.5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's definitely been a lot of progress, a lot of like beauty, a lot of positive change.
Like the cool part about that, like knowing each other so long, and this is getting way off topic, is I think the amazing part is, if you think about it, the people that you know the longest, most likely is your family. And then there's, usually some friends that may lay in there, but we're some of the longest relationships that we've both had in our 40 and 30 years. No, I don't mean just that kind of relationship. I just mean relationships in general.
Not lovers.
Yeah, not lovers in the night. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, we're not saying that. All right. Night closes in. You'll notice we have some common things that we sing or phrases we say. Just enjoy the fun. Just be here for the fun.
Welcome to Movie Quotes with us.
So that's the reason, or how I got started, or the reason I chose coaching.
I think that's beautiful. So I'm wondering, who is your ideal client then? Now that we know kind of what Chris Avery Coaching encompasses, why you chose it, a little bit of who you are, who would be your ideal guy?
Yeah, I think it's the man that owns his own business, that understands, like, man, work is not everything. It is an important part of life. It inspires me, it drives me, it gives me purpose, but it's not the all. And the one that goes like, man, I want to figure out a way to develop that team, work less, and get more freedom, time, flexibility to evolve it into the lifestyle I want, right? To evolve it into that. And that means taking your business and then understanding how to, because I'm all about developing the whole man, right? Like, I like the Michelangelo. If you look at Michelangelo, he said about David, he said, I didn't carve David. I simply understood David was in there, and I took off the pieces that weren't necessary. And that gives me goosebumps again, because that is what life is about, is each man out there that wants to provide for his family and knows that's the most important, yet understands there's so many other just as important in that life. Meaning being there for their kids, having fun, getting them to waking up with them, playing with them, going on a little bike ride, running with them, just laying with them. Like, hey, I'm not sleeping well. Like, I just want to lay on you and enjoying it, And then that kid, building that passion back in your relationship. And then, of course, I'm going to make you run, because that's just part of that clarity and that piece of that health and the piece of the whole man. And running gives you something. I mean, I worked out for years. And
lifted weights.
Yeah, lifted weights, did a number of different type of workouts like that. And maybe you can, maybe there's somebody out there will comment and say, yes, you can. I've never gotten from working out, like with physical weights, the things I've gotten from running. And that's at a spiritual, emotional, physical, but emotional and spiritual shift, expansion of myself that I feel like I never would have got had I just kept working out and not ran.
I think that's really neat. Why is your coaching, based off of all the other coaching you've heard of, actually, real quick, let me add something to that. I want to say it in my terms, because anytime someone asks me, oh, what does your husband do? When you say coach, they think a sports coach or they think a life coach. And sports has nothing to do with what he does other than running. I guess it's a sport. But when they say, oh, like a life coach, I go, not really. It's when or if your life coaching fails, you want to go to Chris. This is like getting a little bit deeper. It's better, in my opinion. And we have these societal milestones where we go to school, we're young, we buy a car, we get a job, we buy a car, we go to school, we graduate, we get married, we have a career, and we're in that career, we have a few kids, and then it just kind of plateaus. And that's where a lot of men might have issues. Maybe it's in the marriage, they've decided, maybe unconsciously, these roles that they take on, and now they're butting heads about it, and now it's about providing, and now they have a big house and you have a car payment, and then it's more about money, and then it's just stresses. So when all of those milestones seem to be hit, that's usually just about when, like, 35 to 45-year-olds typically.
That's the age group that we work with.
That's when they would need maybe an extra hand, a different perspective, a shift in ideas and beliefs. So that's a great time. You know, that's kind of what I say, and it
I love
makes
that.
sense in layman's terms.
I think that's a great way of putting it. And I will say, at the core, it is about living an inspired life. And I'm a big fan of words, as we always talk about. And inspire means in spirit. So I always think of, man, the man that just feels overworked, overstressed, overburdened, and just wants to live that inspired life. Because when we live inspired, we get our wife and she's so excited about life, and she's excited about being with you and the love and the connection. And so are your kids, and so are the people working with you, and you make magic happen. But when we're just like, I'm a man of harmony over hustle. And when we're just grinding and hustling, just listen to those words. Nobody's sitting there going like, and if you are cool, the small percentage of people that are grinding and hustling and loving it, great. Keep doing it. That's for you. If you are doing that and you're a man and you're doing it right now, or a woman, and you don't like it, you're not listening to your soul. You're not feeling inspired. You have to understand that's not the lifestyle you're truly meant to live. That's the reason you feel a disconnect and a stress, and sometimes just ends up hating the business. Is how do we understand how to structure our lifestyle to feel inspired when we do the things we do? Because that's what life's about, is feel inspired doing it.
Yeah, if I just woke up every day and I was like, gotta hustle, gotta get it all done, I wouldn't take time to enjoy my kid. I wouldn't take time to enjoy fun conversations, or just, hey, let's take 10 minutes and hang out. You wouldn't enjoy your life.
You're exhausted. You're stressed. You're so tired by the end of the day, and you feel like you have no time if you're hustling and grinding, because everything has got to be, the reason you want to hustle and grind is because you got to speed everything up. You got to get it done. You got to hit that deadline. And that deadline ends up being your dead line. Like, you kill you, and you're killing your fire. You're dampening it inside. And that is what slows the growth and your life enjoyment down.
Well said. So why do you think this type of coaching is necessary in the world today? Because there's I haven't looked up at like life coach curriculums and things of what most people might find, but when they find you in this coaching, why is that maybe more relevant in today's time?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. If we look at statistically, 50% of marriages fail. 80% of those marriages that end in divorce, which are the ones that fell, just so everybody's clear, those ones that end in divorce, 80% of those are asked for by women. So, and if we statistically, again, look at just women going to college and men dropping out of college, there is becoming a great, vast gap between what men are living up to and what women want. I will say that almost, it seems. And understanding that it's incredible that women, and I thought about this today when I was running, like, women, I feel like a lot of women have felt oppression for a long time. And so they're becoming less and less, or they're no longer oppressed, however you want to say it. And so therefore they are stepping into all these new things that men have done for years, and now women are doing. And that's incredible. Yet the men are losing out on what they're really capable of. You know, some of them are staying home and taking the ball home and no longer playing. And I think it's so important as a society, looking at this generation that I'm just talking about now, and then looking at like our parents' generation, and I look at their generation, they worked a ton. And, you know, I have two great examples of people in my past. Both ended up divorced. Both thought they were really working good for the family. Both divorced at way different parts of their life and their kids' lives. Yet the rift that came from it for their kids and for their own self, and how it broke them apart, and not to mention just how it breaks down the woman and the man, and seeing both sides is just, it's extremely detrimental. And My parents have been divorced. I'm 40. My parents have been divorced since I was 6, so that's 34 years. And yet to still see and hear them say the word divorce, and you can still see that shift, like that emotion comes up, that regret comes up, that I wish I would have comes up. And I've seen that too many times, and too many marriages fell because of some of these things. And there's got to be a better way, and there is. And that's the reason I do what I do.
I think that's beautiful. I really have no other questions. I think that really does encompass all of what I believe and what I've heard through everything that you've done in the depths of your office while I'm out doing anything else for our house and family.
And you can articulate, I think, better what I do than I do most of the time, And you're either a testament.
Is that because sometimes I feel like you speak in tongues when you explain things, and I'm like, can you say that as if I'm a second grader?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some of that, and then also, like we talk about a lot of this stuff, and that's another huge part. This is not even a business thing that we're talking about, and we'll get to these in deeper levels, but make your family part of your business. Like, make them part of the mission.
Yeah. Like, we are doing a run. We are building a business.
Because we all are. Like, I wouldn't think about this. If she disagreed with the stuff, either there'd be a lot more confrontations, and I'm not saying she agrees with everything. I'm saying that is not the point. Definitely not. We will discuss that during the relationship sections.
When we're going into detail about our fight in those.
When we go into details about our...
I was right.
Yeah,
really.
That's what it was. But in all seriousness, it doesn't matter. I just know we discuss the business a lot. We talk about it a lot, and that helps us be more on the same page and understanding the vision and where we're headed. And that's so important to start to find ways to include your family, even your little 2-year-old. Take her for a run. Because when she comes to me every day and goes, running?
Dada, running?
Sometimes it makes me sad because I go like, oh, I'm going to miss her. And then sometimes I go, man, she's going to see this every day. And she's also going to be part of it every day. She gets older. She'll run with me. I'll put her in a stroller. And we've done that in the past. And it's fun. It's a fun way to build a unique experience and build the story that includes her.
Also,
doesn't exclude her.
In the mornings when you get back into bed and meditate for a little bit before you like fully start your day up and at 'em, she'll go, Dada, Dada. And I go, I used to just say Dada sleeping, but then I changed it because I don't want her to think you're just sleeping. Like, yeah, he got up early and now he's sleeping again. So I started to say meditating, and she kind of said, meditating?
That's cute.
I was like, yeah,
Aww.
meditate. We'll teach you that later.
Oh, I want to hear that.
You'll have that'll be nice because you're 2.5 and sometimes you need to meditate. You're a lot.
We love you guys. We are really appreciative of you being here, and we look forward to continue to add value and improve your lifestyle, improve your marriage, improve your business, improve the important things that are a priority in your life. We love y'all.
See ya.